Hey, all, welcome to Challenge Accepted, the podcast where we challenge each other to a new movie or TV show every week. I am Frank, and I'm joined by Thomas.
Well, everybody, it's time to get fantastic because we just watched Fantastic Four First Steps.
Yeah, we are. I mean, this is the day it released, so we are hot off the presses with this. What was your initial opinion of the movie walking up the doors?
Dude, I really liked it. It was
Yeah.
so fun. Definitely more emotional than I
Hmm.
thought it was gonna be. But man, it looks stellar. Cast was great. I had a lot of
Yeah.
fun. What about you?
Agreed. Yeah, it was a blast. It was a spectacle, right? Just visually, just what a
Hmm.
fun movie to just watch. And then on top of that, the family unit of the Fantastic Four, something I kind of forgot about, frankly. I'm right now going through the Hickman run, and and it's like, man, they nailed that, and that's something that I don't know if we really necessarily got in Marvel so far. It's like I'm
Yeah.
thinking like maybe T'Challa and Shuri, but like this is a complete unit right here.
Totally. Yeah, well said. I think about the Black Widow family, which was the closest, and they were all
Yeah,
assassins and, very emotionally damaged. This is like, all right, what does a healthy family look like for the most part, right?
right. Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I think they all did gel really well together.
yeah.
And I before we get too far, like I will say, I don't think it's a perfect movie.
No,
I
same.
was like thinking, the debate I want to ask people at San Diego Comic Con now. I kind of wish this came out a week before Comic Con
Right.
because then I could ask people Superman or this.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think
It's
that's
such an unfair question.
it is. It totally is. But I wonder, I mean, I think that question is naturally going to come up.
Yeah.
And who wins the summer, right? I mean, I
Hmm.
definitely didn't think it was going to be Jurassic World, and surprise, surprise, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I am kind of curious about that. But I love what they brought to the table for this like first team.
It's the first thing Squeaks texted me when I walked out the theaters. It was like, "Hey, see this or Superman," and I was like, "It's hard to say one's better than the other because they're both
Right?
so fresh from everything we know in their categories." This
Yeah.
is such a fresh Marvel movie, and of course, Superman was such a fresh DC movie that I don't want to compare them. I'm just like, nah, it doesn't matter what happened beforehand. We're starting here with these two, you know?
Yeah, it's weird though. Like, when we think about DC, for the longest time, it was thinking about how dark and gritty it was, right? For
Yeah,
the DCU. And it's funny how Marvel has almost become a little bit more dark and gritty with like the Thunderbolts, with Daredevil.
yeah,
It's like the Punisher obviously was brutal in this last show.
right.
So, yeah, it's kind of funny how it's flipped. But this is a return back to like light and fun and positivity, yet there are stakes, yet there are real emotions.
Yeah, and it's real sci-fi. It's funny that I mean, yeah, Endgame sci-fi, of course, Guardians of sci-fi, but man, this one felt like Star Trek. We knew with Shackman being involved, he's a Star Trek fan, and he said it was going to be inspired by Star Trek. And man, I got that. This felt like 60s TOS Star Trek.
Oh yeah, okay, right on. All right, I think this is the warning for everybody out there. We're
Yeah,
going full
we tried our
spoilers right
hardest.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's about all you get. Drop a like, drop a comment, give us 5 stars, all the above. But we're going
yeah.
heavy spoilers. I not like that channel, although I do like that channel. This had way more space travel than I thought it was going to have. Did
But
you think
not
that?
more than I expected out of a normal like trade from Fantastic Four. I think, especially if you talk about like their first encounter with Galactus. I half expected one of the things to happen would be Reed to be like, "Hey, Johnny, go up back. His ship's up there. Go up to his ship and find a weapon, an ultimate nullifier, whatever."
Mm.
I thought like, oh, they might just do straight up the comic book thing once that teleportation thing fell apart. I was like, they might just do full comic, but I still like the way it went down.
Yeah. All right, man. Yeah, this is where I'm gonna push up my glasses,
There we
being
go.
like
Good,
a
good.
massive nerd. Like it's funny because as I've read all these issues, and I was trying to count it last or like a couple nights ago. It was like 120 something comics
Yeah,
is what I got to, and it was Mark Wade. I did a little bit of Jack Kirby. Sorry, yeah, is that right? Slate guys,
Jack
Stanley,
Kirby.
Jack Kirby. I read like up to like issue 6 there, and
Hmm.
then a little bit of the Galactus run. But then yeah, it was Wade, Ryan North now, Dan Slott, Matt Fraction, James Robinson. I read all of those,
Yeah, yeah.
and it is it's not as spacey as you'd think.
Okay.
And that's the interesting thing, at least in my take. It is
But isn't the
science
Kirby
fiction.
ones pretty spacey?
I mean, even the Galactus one, I mean, like, Uatu comes to them on Earth.
Oh, that is such a. I forgot about Watu's big part of that story,
He's a
actually.
massive part of it.
Yeah, he's the. Yeah, okay, that's right. Okay, yeah, because he's the one that warns them.
Yeah, so that's why, I mean, I was like, wow, I'm really surprised that there's this much space, like, in the ship.
Yeah.
Like I think they called it the Excelsior one, or was it the Excelsior launch pad? And then because in the comics, the
That just dawned on me. How badass is that? That just dawned on me that they called it Excelsior. Oh, I love it.
I know, right? That's sweet.
Just to totally distract us real quick, did you notice that they put like a Jack Kirby and a Stan Lee? And I was like, oh man, I couldn't find somebody who got a still of that. I want to find that again. That's cool.
Yeah, it was at the booth at San Diego Comic Con. They have the Stan Lee shop.
Oh, cool.
On the side
That's
of
awesome.
it. Yeah, and it's like Stan Lee's tire service or whatever it is. But it's not like Stan and then Space Lee. It's like, STANLEY Stanley.
Yeah.
Thing. And it was great. So yes, a lot more science fiction. Should we jump? Let's talk about the pace. Because it goes fast, man. I mean, this was a fast movie. And just like Superman, I feel like Superman, like, you get your tear-jerky moments, but this movie moves quick.
Yeah, they use montages very helpfully in this, where we don't need to tell you about the space race. You guys know about cosmic energy, yada, yada, yada. Boom, 4 years after. I love that it's 4 years, of course. And
that surprised me. I was so surprised by that.
How so?
Because you're talking about like at the end, right? Where it's like, it says
no, not that 4 years, the first 4 years. So
seeing the first 4 years?
Like they just did, because it was basically, the idea is that it's starting off with a TV show celebrating 4 years of Fantastic Four.
Right.
And so much like Superman, it's like, we don't need to show the first 3 years, or like you'd expect for them to be like, oh, look, I can stretch now. They didn't need to do any of that. Like, we're already past that. Yeah. Families together. Sue's late, So I did like that we're jumping into it very much like Superman. It's crazy these two movies came out the same month.
It is. And another thing that was really surprising about it was they had their original villains right in the beginning. They had Red Ghost. They talked about the Wizard. Like, they had the Mole Man. It was like they were going comic accurate with this movie. That was also, that was a bigger surprise. It was like, they're going with Red Ghost, like, for real? The dude who sent his monkeys up to space so that they could become smart and fight the Fantastic. I was like, damn, they're going
They shot John Malkovich in this, but they cut him out of it. So he was, he's Red Ghost, but they cut him out.
He was? Oh, was that confirmed? Because I was wondering what part he was supposed to play. Oh, was it?
Red Ghost. Yeah. They just used the one monkey for it.
Yeah, that's true. They only showed like the cartoon version, I've been my guess too, right?
Right. Yeah. I loved the Mole Man though. That was to me. I mean, of course, Incredibles comes up too, because Incredibles is basically Fantastic Four. It's inspired by that. But the idea of just like this villain that's always around, that kind of go in and out of. We don't see that a lot in the MCU. A lot of times when a villain comes in, I'm famously yelling about Ultron, or infamously. The villain comes in, does their thing, and goes. Loki's the only one that we see stick around for a long time. And it was fun that like Mole Man's just been there. Like, he's still there. And that's how the comic book villains always work. Doctor Doom does not get defeated and go away. That dude dies a couple times and still comes back, Yeah.
I know, it was amazing that he had such a prominent role. Paul Walter Hauser. Amazing. I always like, whenever I see him though, I think of Stingray from Cobra Kai.
Okay, yeah. I've never seen Cobra Kai.
Oh, he's so funny in that show. He's like amazing. And he gives himself like a goatee that looks like a stingray. It's incredible. But I can't help but think of him that way. But it just moves so quick. You do get caught up to where they're at. And then you get a good base of the characters. And then it's like, boom, Galactus, Silver Surfer's in heralding.
Yeah. I think a key thing that this movie does is give us enough breathing room to discover what the deal is with everybody. There's that family dinner I think does well. Let's kind of touch into that before we go too far, because I think that pacing is part of this. But Sue is clearly very much the glue that's holding everybody together. She is, I think, the most stable and sound member of this team. Reed, doesn't show how to show fear. He like hides his fear behind his brilliance, and he just like, I'll just outthink this somehow. And it's like, you could be afraid. And then of course we see Ben, who does show that sadness. I was hoping they would kind of embrace that more. I think that's a bigger. I don't like his girlfriend in this. We'll get into that. Yes, but Johnny, I think, was my biggest surprise, because they could go cocky with Johnny. That's been done before, but this one was like really passionate. It wasn't like he's cocky. He was like wanting to prove himself. He was like, I'm a go-getter. I'm into this. Even his like debonairness was like, oh, but I like her because there's something different about her. It's not like it's like, oh, she's just the hot chick of the week kind of thing for him.
Right. Like she's definitely more party boy in the comics. Like he's like, yeah, all these girls like me. Let's do this. He has those softer sides for sure. But it's like, this was a way more cerebral Johnny than I've seen. This like, even like he doesn't, that was the thing. Okay. So I loved Sue by far. Perfect. Pitch perfect. I wouldn't change a thing that they did with Sue in this.
Agreed.
I liked Ben. Needed more Ben.
And I think we'll get more Ben. Yeah,
I think so too. But I wanted to feel he's one of the most sympathetic characters in the Marvel universe.
Yes,
and it's like we get touches of it when the TV goes down. But I'm like, I felt like I got those moments in the trailer. Like I wish we had more moments. Like he was just so nice with Reed. Like he was so forgiving with Reed. And I don't read it that way. He's pissed at Reed because he was the only person that said we need to build up the shielding around the rocket. Because of the cosmic radiation. We don't know if it's going to block this.
I think that's a big part with the 4 years though, right? Don't you feel like because of the 4 years, there's probably they've had those moments probably, you know?
But it's crazy. Like even if you read kind of modern comics within the last 10 years, he still kind of holds a grudge.
Yeah.
So it's like, but you know, maybe they're trying to get away from that. They're just friends. Like I could get that slide. It just was like a different side to it. Like he was just such his friend in this.
Because they have this movie didn't give them that time to really develop, but those two do have a very complex relationship. I think it's so funny. I think Ben not only holds the grudge, but is also maybe one of, if not the most vigilant defender of Reed. Like I think he's got his back to the end of the moon. And
that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like I held a grudge, but I'm getting back in that ship with you. You know, and there's something to that. This one, I think, like, we'll have to have another movie, frankly, to really get more of that. And even with the girlfriend thing, I was like, come on, like, you casted somebody great, but not right, you know?
Yeah. I love you keep saying frankly. I wonder if it's because Franklin is on the brain.
And my name's Frank, so who knows?
Your name's Frank. Definitely. But you're so right. There's some things that I'm like, okay, I just need to see more of that character. You're so right. But Johnny was the biggest surprise. I'm like, man, they're giving him some screen time. They gave him one of the coolest heroic moments. Like he doesn't have to end up doing it, but it was still very heroic. And also I liked how in this way, like he's like, I'm smart too. I'm going to figure out and like translate the language. And then, you know, I'm going to figure it out on my own. I don't need you guys, especially if you're not going to listen to me. I'm just going to figure it out myself. This was like one of the more intelligent Johnnies I've seen portrayed.
I like that, because why was he part of the original four if not for something that he holds that nobody else does? Like, like Reed even says, like, I picked the best four for the job. They just happen to be my friend, my wife, and my brother-in-law. And so it's like, okay, why is he the best four then?
That's true. Yeah. I in the comic, you're right. I like this explanation. I think even a little better than the comics, because the whole thing was he knew that Reed and Sue are going to space. Like Reed's making the ship. He's going to do it. Obviously Ben is he's a colonel in the Air Force. He's a test pilot. Like, of course he can fly the spaceship. And then it was Johnny being like, well, I could do that. And they're like, you can't, you're a kid. And he's like, I could do it. And then Ben's like, all right, fine. I'll put you through space training or astronaut training. And then he passed it. And then they're like,
and wasn't there
colors?
And wasn't there a little bit of a thing too, where Reed actually had in the comics, and it might not be the original run, might be a later run, Reed had other people that were going up there, but they canceled or something like that.
Yes.
Because the shielding or something. And so then they kind of almost stole the ship. That might be like the 90s thing.
No, yeah. I think they played it into both, but like, yes, they were also worried about the shielding. They jump out, so Johnny came in as the backup,
Yeah.
which I think makes more sense. I mean, that was kind of more of a revision from what I understand, but it does make
Okay.
sense in a way, right? It's very comic booky.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Ben is still the one that's like, we shouldn't do it. Like, I kind of agree with them. The shielding's not good, and it's one of the things that Sue said, it's the second worst thing I ever said to you. I said, what are you, a coward? You won't fly? And he's
Mm.
like, ah, and he smashes the table as a human, smashes the table, rings it. He's like, I'm no coward. And then they
Yeah.
sneak onto the space station and then they go fly it, right?
Mhm.
And then the second worst thing she ever says to him is once they all crash land, they're transforming and whatever. And like she's dipping in and out of visibility, and Reed is stretching all weird. And I don't even think Johnny flames on yet, but the thing or before he's a thing, he's just bad, and he starts transforming. And she goes, I don't know, he's turning into something.
Yeah.
And she said, that's the worst thing I've ever said to you. And when they go to put their hands in as the Fantastic Four, he's like, I guess I'm just the thing now.
Mhm.
And it's so sad. Like, it's
I
such
know.
a sad character. And I'm like reading the issue where him and Alicia are getting married. And
Okay.
it's like beautiful, but it's who he calls on. He's trying to call on Reed to help him, like to get him ready for his wedding. And Reed, of course, is doing Reed things, and he's trying to
Yeah.
build the lab, and he's building extra dimensions on 4 Yancey Street because the Baxter building is now taken over. And so who ends up picking the phone up is Sue, and Sue goes to find him, and he wants to learn how to dance so he can dance with
Yeah.
his wife. And they are revisiting their whole night and their relationship and like how it kind of got close but never quite got there. And it's a very emotional and sympathetic one. So it's like, again, I love what they did with him. There's just so much more that they could do. How did you feel about how he looked?
I think it looks good, except for the beard. I think the beard's got to go. I think there was the point when Natasha Leone was like, "Oh, you look rugged" or something like that, or distinguished. Was kind of like
Yeah,
a hint to be. I was waiting for her to say like, "You look better without a beard." Then he'd go home and grind that thing down.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I think that's
That would have
coming
been
up
that would
very
have
soon.
played well. Yeah. I wasn't super familiar with her character. I don't remember what her name was, but I knew it wasn't Alicia, so I didn't like.
Yeah, it's Rachel Rosman, and she's original to the movie. She's not from the comics.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that was an interesting choice, right? I'm like, all right, well, I mean, she does have that New York gruff to her. So it's like, all
Yeah,
right, and she looked the part, but I was
yeah.
like, I don't know who this character is. So that was
I think Alicia
interesting.
will be from Our Earth, is why they didn't want to use that character yet.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about that at the end. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, we talked about Johnny a little bit. We talked about Sue. You said
The
it well. She's
last,
good.
yeah, it's the last one is Pedro himself. I think, that was a big concern when Pedro was cast. I was like, oh, is he going to be good for this? And I'm a big fan of Pedro. I'll be hanging out with him all day. But I think maybe we're just getting too much of him recently or something. I didn't feel like I lost Pedro Pascal into the Reed Richards of this. I felt like
Right.
it was clearly Pedro playing a Reed Richards type. Not, and he was well written. I think that Mr. Fantastic role was well written and
Mhm.
was doing the things I'd expect him to do from the comics. There's just I still saw Pedro the whole time.
Ooh, that's interesting. I was trying to explain to Christina, I'm like, man, it's so weird because it's like, I love Pedro. I know he's an amazing actor, but I've been reading a shit ton of Fantastic Four comics, and I don't feel necessarily like this is Mr. Fantastic.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's interesting that you got that because I was feeling that. I didn't have the words for it, but I think you're right.
So what
It's
about
like,
this character? Oh, okay, you think I'm okay. So do
no,
you
you're
think
right.
if you were to put like comic book face on him, is the dialogue, is the writing of Mr. Fantastic correct for the comic book? Is it just Pedro that's throwing you off?
It 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 is, but like I guess this is what was weird, and not in a bad way. It's just different. This is what
Yeah.
feels different from this and the comics. Reed is so smart, he doesn't really need them. And
Right.
so, or at least he doesn't think he does. And in this one, he needed them so much, which made it great. It made them feel like a real team. They all had to rely on each other. And he
Hmm.
does solve things. But in the comics, he is the guy solving everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
kind of is here too. But like, Robert Downey Jr. just kind of took over the
Yeah.
room. It was like, listen, I don't know if he's right, but we're listening to that guy. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying, and I think that's what he was doing, but I think Sue was very intrusive. You had like she was forcing herself to break up. Like I think that's her job, basically, right? Is to kind of like, hey, you need to be grounded, and he'll just kind of stay in that room forever. Herbie's the only one he
Yeah.
needs to be in the room with him, and and I think that was part of it. And also the fact that Johnny was like, I'm going to take this upon myself because he didn't want to just. I think Johnny knew if he brought this information to Reed, it's not that Reed would work with him, it's that Reed would take it. And so I think that kind of gives credence to the idea that he's buying himself the entire time. And so, yeah, I totally see what you're saying there. The moment I thought like this, it's scary how much I can see regular Reed doing this is when he's sitting there and he's struggling about this dilemma that he just can't break. And then he looks at his son, and then you can see almost in his face, again, Pedro's a very good actor. You can see in his face how much he's telling himself, don't go down that path. Don't think about that. That's not an option. Like he's having to convince himself to not think logically. And that's almost painful for Reed Richards, you know? And I liked it.
I really did too. You're so right, because she even tells him like, I can't believe you thought about it, but that's what he does. Like if you're a scientist, you have to think about all the possibilities, right? You're like, I know this isn't a good one. It's not even a good option. It's my kid. There's emotions there. But if you take emotions out of it, this is probably the
easy
logical
option.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you take emotions out of it, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're so right. He has this emotional struggle. You can see two sides of him pulling, and he has to fight it. And I do love that aspect of Pedro in this. I think there are just certain things where I'm like, that wasn't quite how I envision him from the comics, but it doesn't mean he's bad. It just means he's different. And this was to me in some ways even more emotional of a Reed than I've seen. Yeah.
I could definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, I was not shy away from the fact that there are strokes of comic book Reed in this for sure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like the fact that he clearly is trying to overcome his emotions, his fear. He wouldn't show him if he can, and would just go heavy into science. Like science will solve this problem. And I loved when he kept dropping like philosopher quotes and shit like that. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It has been leaked or rumored or whatever that he's going to lead the Avengers. Right. Can you see this Reed doing that?
That's, because of that quote, that's what I was kind of watching out, and there's so many, we know that quote, we know the comics, we know Pedro. It's like, can I see, I don't know. I feel like this Reed gets steamrolled by Doom. I feel like he just gets stomped on. Yeah. Because and it was a good choice, and there's comic basis for it. Sue was more of the team leader in my eyes. Yeah. In some way, like there are moments where he's pointing out, like, you do this, you do that, you do that, and it's cool, it's good. But like when Sue spoke, he was just like, I'm not going to say anything. Maybe that is being a good leader. I don't know.
Well, I think that, okay, so I'm going to posit this. What if that is solely because of the Franklin Richards of it all? In a normal situation, say they're fighting Mole Man, they're fighting whomever. Red Ghost. I don't think those come into play, but because Franklin's in here, he's seeing that like I can't do Reed Richards stuff right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And my favorite scene of the whole movie, the New York is outside Baxter Building, and frankly, if you're asking this question, 9 times out of 10, give the kid up. And New Yorkers are wanting them to just give the kid up. It's silly to even have this question. But then Vanessa goes out there, Sue Storm goes out there, gives a speech that I thought was like, son of a bitch, that's some good dialogue writing right there. Yeah. And Franklin, and I like how they showed the rest of the family come out and listen to the speech as well. And I think that was finally like Reed Richards being like, okay, good. We're on the same page now. Because I really felt like that character was tiptoeing so hard around Sue after that decision came out, that they're going to save the baby no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great speech. It really was. It was amazing. I don't know. He just feels more logical, even with Franklin in the books, I guess. And this is one of those times where it's like, I wonder if I did too much reading to where it's like altered my brain. You know what I mean? It's like you have this idea of like what before the movies came out, what Harry Potter looks like or Katniss Everdeen.
Right.
And then you go to watch the movie and you're like, that's kind of her. That's like a glimpse of her. You know what I mean? And so that's I was constantly fighting myself a little bit in this movie because of that.
So to kind of give you some context on my side of this, so I before this movie came out, I did a deep dive on Fantastic Four history. I started reading the Hickman run from I think it was '98 that start coming out, and then I've read the Illuminati before, so that's kind of like my initial like knowing of Reed is through the Illuminati run, and so that's kind of where I'm at. So a lot less than you, and I think that might be why I'm a little bit more like it's probably this, right? Stuff like that.
No, and I don't disagree with you. I think you're nailing it in a lot of parts. Yeah, it just I was trying to put words into why it didn't feel the same. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of just connect, like. I can't look at or read Iron Man now in a comic book and not hear Robert Downey Jr.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh
like,
yeah.
It just comes out
every
like
time.
all the or even Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like when I read Deadpool, like I was reading like a ton of X-Force and all the Deadpool stuff, it sounds like Ryan Reynolds to me.
Yeah. It's so funny. I've read Thor has been one of my favorite comic books since I was a kid. And I always read it. And I always love how when Thor talks, his letterer does different dialogue for him. It's like different writing. To this always read it. But now I read it in Chris Hemsworth voice every time now. And it's like, I've read this comic book as a kid and now I have a different voice for it. It's just, but that goes for Batman too. For me, it's Kevin Conway that I read in his voice. So,
interesting. Yeah. But, there's been so many Batman though, and we haven't gotten that many reads. I think the other thing that this movie really hit home for me on obviously having a little one on the way, especially a little boy, watching it with Christina, like we were both tearing up in moments, like genuinely tearing up. And I think seeing that emotion from somebody who has all the answers was actually, there's like a little bit of catharsis there. There's a little bit of relatability. Obviously, as a guy, you're like, I want to be able to fix this. I have the answers. And he is the guy that could do it. Right. Like in the Marvel universe, there's, him, Shuri, Tony Stark. That's kind of it. I mean, like Dinosaur, Lava Girl, I think, in Dinosaur, Devil Dinosaur. Yeah. But like, that's it. I mean, they are the top minds. So I did appreciate that where he is a little bit more like, this is my son. I'm going to do whatever I can to figure this out. And the moment I always think about this now, watching the trailer and now watching the movie, Sue says in the comics, one of the scariest things I've ever heard is Reed say, I don't know. And like when I saw that in the movie this time, that really hit.
The way it was shot too, where we see Reed kind of like look back and just, I don't want to mislabel this. Pedro Pascal does a great job playing this role.
He does. Absolutely. He's killed.
Doesn't feel like Reed, but he does. Because when he turns around, he says, I don't know. You kind of feel scared. You're like, shit, wait, he doesn't know? He's Reed. He should have a plan. And we were just with him to see that didn't work. So it was like that. He delivered that well, Yeah,
he really did. Another part that I really like is once they figure out, the Herald comes down, which, I thought she did a good job. She was cool. Like some of the coolest shots of the movie for me were Silver Surfer.
When she's like surfing around like on the fire and stuff, like that's just as neat. That's what that boils down to, being neat.
Dude, that was epic. Especially around the black hole with all like the rocks and debris.
Dude, even the idea of like trapping her in time dilation and then she'll be stuck there for 30 days. I was just like, that I gotta say this is the most sci-fi Marvel movie, like to where I'm walking away and I would like, what if they went a little bit further? Like, would have been worth it? Like I'm having the same questions I have when I watch a really good Star Trek or a really good other sci-fi movies. I swear it's not just Star Trek in my brain, guys.
Like Interstellar or
great option. Yeah, Interstellar. Where I'm like, okay, well then you guys just got rid of the ship that made you guys go faster than light. So how long does it take for you guys to get back to Earth? You got her there for 30 days. Is it going to take 28 for you? And so like But I love that about sci-fi. And this
Yeah.
movie did a lot of that for me. Like I was like, this better ways to get rid of Galactus and stuff. So it was cool.
Yeah, yeah. It was
But it was
cool.
very
Yeah.
60s too, where it was like, I just love how fast everybody got on board, but like so 60s and 60s
Mhm.
comics specifically, where they're like, oh, we're gonna teleport Earth, and everybody's like, gotcha, we're gonna build pylons, doing it. And it was like,
Yeah.
that does not fly in 2025. But in a 1960s comic where they got Mole Man underneath them, they'll do that.
I know. I do love that. Yeah, I found myself thinking that it's like, gosh, we're so cynical and these
Yes.
days. But I'm like, but if the world knew, like the entire world knew it was going to be destroyed, like, wouldn't we get on the same? You'd hope, right? But
Yeah, it's
I
like
guess
World
that
War II era stuff. Yeah,
right,
United
yeah.
Front.
So I was like, maybe that can happen. And I love how they kind of teed it up with like he can teleport, which also brings it back to other things that we've seen in Marvel, especially the first introduction of Reed Richards we got with Jim, right? With Jim
Yeah.
Halbert. And so it was like, all right, well, obviously John Krasinski's Reed figured it out. They're figuring out this other form of like teleportation. I thought that was pretty sick. Well, we found a star system that works for this planet. Super cool. I love that idea.
Mhm.
And then you're like, yeah, it's gonna work. Like they got it. Like this is gonna. And then the Silver Surfer comes in and starts destroying everything. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god, which they described in CinemaCon, which was the oh shit moment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was because it was, but that's again, it's just very comic booky in the fact that it was like, oh shit, moment. Now we have to do the thing that we do the best, where the thing has to knock down a building and Human Torch has to go Nova. And it was just like, oh man, I liked how much they just kicked into, all right, we have to be superheroes again and do our thing. It wasn't just like this united effort anymore. I thought it was a very good reaction. I think so many people thought Shia LaBeouf was a bad choice when she was first cast. My friends, you were wrong. Shia LaBeouf was a good choice, and that moment when Johnny gets her in front of the speakers and he's playing the messages, not just from her, then from the other planets as well, and she has that shattering moment. I was, that is, I love the old Silver Surfer from the old Fantastic Four movie. This one has earned the turn, though. You know what I'm saying? That turn
Mhm.
against Galactus, like it's so
True.
hard. It's so hard to justify Silver Surfer doing that because like my planet is safe right now because I'm here.
Right.
This one has earned that turn where it's like, okay, this one believes that it's now time to actually fight back.
100%. That's always been my biggest hang up with the Silver Surfer. It's like, why do you care? Like,
Yeah,
like why do you care if this gets destroyed? You helped him destroy tons of planets with
exactly.
millions and billions of other aliens. Why do you care? You're so right in that they justified it. I think it was a great choice. Also, we are in a different universe. They made it very clear right in the front. This is universe 828. So it's like,
Yeah.
all right, don't come at me with like this isn't Norrin Rad.
Oh
Nor
man.
not in this universe. They're the only heroes, and this is Shia LaBeouf. Like it works great. I thought. I even like really appreciated some of the flashbacks we got with her on the sand with her daughter.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. And then seeing Galactus come down on her planet was like, whoa. I think the only thing I was like, wouldn't there be like more people around watching her like get sucked up as the
Yeah.
sacrifice for
Especially
her
Nora
planet?
Rad or whatever his name is. Like, you know,
He
because
might have been there. Yeah, yeah.
you would assume he would be there too. I thought like it's cool that you have the daughter. Where's the husband? Because that's kind of a big character. So I thought maybe they would use him, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah, or at
fair.
least have somebody around. But either way, that's
Yeah.
nitpicking. But like, yeah, I thought she looked pretty great. I thought she was really cool. The chase scene through the light speed travel was pretty sick. And then Johnny trying to
Yeah.
shoot the blasters, that was cool.
Even when Johnny's like racing next to her when they're on Galactus' ship and he's like trying to talk to her, I really liked the changes to Johnny as well. So that kind of goes into this, but that was a cool scene. Her CGI looks, I don't know if they improved it since the trailer, but I was more comfortable with it now than I was when I first saw the trailer. And I was like,
Mm.
it looked better here. I'd say the only real bad CGI question mark is with Reed. It's expected. Like stretching's never going to look great, but there are a few times where I was watching Pedro's face when they were stretching. And it was like, that's a full CGI character. That's not even mocap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You could
Which
just,
reminds me of the old
yeah.
Spider-Man movies where like, shit, that doesn't age too well, you know?
Yeah. That's true. Honestly, I thought this was the best stretching I've ever seen. I thought it was so cool. I would
Fair.
just Yeah,
But
I was
you know,
just bummed we didn't have more of it. Like I wanted him just doing it nonstop, which is
Mhm.
ridiculous. You can't do that. But like I
Yeah.
wanted him to just do everything. Like I know there's parts where he like stretches across the room and he grabs something, brings it back. And I was like, just do make weird faces, like
Yeah.
stretch out your fingers so that they're
There was
all
this
grabbing
stretch they
different.
took out, it looks like. So one of the monkeys like stretched his mouth,
Right. They
and it
put
was
it
like you guys took
in.
it out, but they put it at the end. So it's like, okay, that sucks, but okay. That's
Yeah,
fun. He's
yeah.
It's wacky. That's the best part about Fantastic Four, in my opinion, is that they are the most like just sci-fi, wacky, crazy. There's a giant dude walking around New York, and they have to worry about Mole Man and smart apes. It's fun, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I think honestly, for me, the CGI, the only one I wasn't in love with sometimes was Ben.
There are
I thought,
moments. Yep.
yeah, like that was the only one where I was like, I don't know, like that because he is constantly in the rock form. You are just staring at it. You're like,
Yeah.
how does this all work? I didn't mind the stretching at all. It was just some moments of Ben. I was like, it's almost there, like it's
Yeah.
almost perfect. And sometimes you're like, damn, that's incredible. Especially when he's like
Mhm.
staring at her, when he's like, you're late. Wait, are you pregnant? That was just like, dang, phenomenal. But those are moments we got in the trailer. So it
Yeah.
was, yeah, there was like a few other things where I was just like, man, I wish they kind of, but it still looked incredible. I think the rest of this movie looks amazing.
They got to get the team that did Groot for the Christmas special, and I think Guardians
Groot,
3 too. But that
Groot
Groot
always looks
was so
perfect.
perfect.
Groot
But I
always
mean, I
looks
would say with the
perfect.
Christmas special, they decided to do this thing where they looked like they used CGI to make it look like a guy in a suit. Do you remember
Mhm.
that change in his look where he's a little bit buffer now and stuff like that? But like something about it
Yeah,
was just like, you guys freaking nailed this finally. Like that's
it-
actually legit. So I
that's
thought
just
they should do the
perfect.
same. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that it looked amazing. All the space stuff, it looked incredible. And then you get to Tatu, which is Galactus's ship. And I thought that looked
Yes.
super cool. That looked amazing. I was like, how are they gonna make them just fight? And it sounds silly maybe to say, but I was like, how are they gonna make it interesting? Them just fighting Galactus and Silver Surfer. Like, like there's not going to be a
Yeah.
bunch of like little drones. Not that there was in the comics, but I was like, how are they going to make that
But it's a
interesting?
very MCU thing to do, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
but yeah, exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
but
Yeah, yeah.
this was very much. That's why I keep thinking like this is just a '60s comic where it's just like we're gonna
Right.
fight the big tall dude, you know, and it's
Yeah.
that's refreshing in a way. And one thing I liked, I wanted to throw this out there. I put it in my review. When they're on the ship, we got so used to this Earth, it's like super bright. Even at night, there's like cool lights going on. But then when we're on Galactus' ship and it's dark and there's just lava that's lighting everything, I think it makes you feel like the characters out of place and uncomfortable, and
Yeah.
something's foreboding here. And then when you see Galactus, I like of course the reveal. It's like the eyes light up and it's like too high up, and you're
Yeah,
like, oh
yeah.
god,
Right at
he's
the
that
top of the
big.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they
That
did.
was
I watched
cool.
this in IMAX. That was the way to go, guys.
Oh man, we didn't have a chance to watch it in IMAX, but I will definitely go back and watch it again because it is a spectacle. It's a feast for your eyes. There's
Yeah.
always something crazy going on. The world looks amazing too. I just like I wanted more time even in this. And it's just like I'm not
Agreed.
like
100%.
it's selfish, but it's just like there were so many cool little things. It's like I just want to be here for a
Yeah.
little bit more, and
Yep.
like go down this street. Let me see what's there,
My number one thought when I did my review, because I do these when I write the review, I like write it a couple times to make sure it looks good and stuff like that, and it's back and forth. My number one takeaway was this is the first time in a very long time that I walked out of a Marvel movie, or when it ended really, and I was like, I want the sequel to this movie right now. Not that I want the
Yeah.
next Marvel movie. I want this movie. I want another one of these. I want this team, this world. And the last two movies I can think of that did that to me was the first Doctor Strange and the first Guardians of the Galaxy, where I was like, this is fresh, this is
Ooh.
new. I want these characters here now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well said. Yeah, yeah. Avengers for sure. Yeah, Captain America, Winter Soldier. It's not like I did want to see him right away because that was so damn good.
But like
Yeah,
with
well
Winter
said,
Soldier, like
man.
with Captain America Winter Soldier, like when that one ended, I was like, oh, no shield. How's that going to affect everybody? Like I kept thinking of the grand
Right.
scope of the MCU. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
care about
yeah.
that. I want to see what's happening in this street.
That
You know?
right, right. With these characters, yeah, so true. You're so right. I definitely wanted more from everybody, and that's a good thing because it's like
Yes.
we know we're getting Avengers Doomsday. Which okay, I almost want to just jump to the end credit scenes. I don't know if we should
Well,
do
I'm
that.
going through my list, and I think we've kind of nailed a lot of the things I'm talking about. Like I
Last
think that's
last fight with Galactus. What did you think? Galactus comes down.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love how it's about damn time people learn that Sue's the strongest one of the four of them, I think. In my opinion,
Mm.
she is.
No,
And the
she
way that
is.
she's just like kicks into mother mode and shows that like my family's above all things. Like I think as much as Reed suppresses his emotions and uses his mind to overcounter, I think
Mm.
Sue's the opposite. I think she uses her emotions to make herself stronger. So it's like they work opposites of each other. That's why they freaking work so well. But I just and Vanessa Kirby, her
Mhm.
performance when she's doing that push on Galactus,
Mhm.
nailed
And
it.
and her other push too. I was like, oh boy,
Oh my
that
god,
looked
yeah.
real. That looked. I
Those,
don't
you know
know.
what? Those were tense moments. I knew that Franklin's going to be fine. I knew who Franklin was,
Right, right,
but
right.
still they felt tense, and that's a performance thing right there. And of course the
Yeah.
shots, but performance.
No, 100% with the performance. You're like, she killed it. Like
Mhm.
that was so good. Yes, she I like the powers. I like how they made it look a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. It was
Yeah.
unique. I like how they just jumped right in because now she has such a good grasp of her powers. She can make other things invisible too, and they used it
Hmm.
in really unique ways. I loved it. They showed it from everything from trying to avoid talking to someone to turning the whole ship invisible to trick
Yeah.
Shala Ball. That was so sick. That was so smart. And then yes, the force fields. Oh, the force fields were so cool.
Those
Um,
they.
yeah, she was amazing. I liked it. I was like, what is Reed's plan initially in this? Because Johnny was supposed to be in there. He was flaming him. He got the eyes. Then Ben came in with the tanker through the tanker. Johnny lit that up. But then Reed was kind of just chilling on the roof.
Reed was
And
trying to no. Reed was trying to deplete his fuel.
deplete his fuel.
So Galactus eats by having a planet fed to his back
Right, right,
through the
right. Yeah,
tubes.
yeah.
So
Yep.
Reed was going to his back to open all those up so that he would like lose
Yeah.
energy.
But did he do that after he saw that they were getting beaten? Then he jumped to grab the pole and then he climbed up on him. He was like
I
just
thought that
chilling on the
was
roof.
I thought that was his move after the pylons failed. I thought that was kind of like what was next for him. I don't remember what was after
Yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure. That was after the pylons failed. But I was wondering what he was supposed to do if they did it. Like, was he just supposed to stand there and watch?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Oh, I see what
Yeah.
you're saying. So
You know what I mean?
so
Like,
yeah, was he the one that swapped the baby, or was no? That was Johnny.
that was
That swapped
Johnny.
the baby.
Right. He was just chilling on the roof.
He was. Hey, that's the leader sometimes.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. He
Yeah.
didn't do anything in that moment.
You're
He
right.
only
When it went
acted
bad is when he
when it
activated.
went
But
bad.
he was monitoring the situation.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, maybe he was just the foreman, But
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And which was sick. Don't get me wrong, because he is my favorite Fantastic Four. He is.
Oh, really?
I,
Okay, yeah.
I love. He's my favorite. I love him. I've always loved intelligence. I always loved the battle between I am compelled to do this, and yet my heart is saying not to, and that is the struggle. And I just love that idea of him. I always love in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I would play him nonstop because he
Yeah.
could turn into a giant ball. He had these.
He's your
hammer
main and
fists.
rivals too, actually. Yeah.
Is my main rival. Yeah. Which I didn't even know. I was like, I'm not playing Reed because he's going to suck. But anyways, like I just naturally am attracted to all the abilities he has. It's so cool. It's unique. And just the complexity of his character. I don't necessarily love the name still to this day, but I love why they've kind of retconned the reason for it, where I'm going to put all the intention on me, kind of like the Batman symbol, so that when people shoot at me, they aim for the symbol and they're not going to aim at you guys. And so I do kind of love that aspect of it. But yeah. I just like in that moment, I was like, what is he doing on the roof? I was like, give us something.
Yeah.
But then went in and then he was turning the dials open. I was like, that's smart. That's pretty cool. Like, how are you going to do? But I think there was more they could have even done with him. And like, he does become weaker as you stretch him. But
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
maybe this was the farthest he's ever stretched before, but I was like, dude, this guy can go like go.
We've seen him like
So
wrap Galactus around
yeah,
his legs and stuff like that. Like he's definitely stretched more than what he was stretched in this. And it was almost like Reed was year one Reed when everybody else
kind
is year
of.
four F4.
Yes.
So I think
Yes.
maybe what it is, Reed Richards, I would argue that his real first superpower is his intelligence. Then it's
Yeah.
the stretching ability. So maybe he's just always been leaning on that. He has so many gadgets. He'll make a gadget for anything.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
maybe it's just like, hey buddy, you better start working on your actual abilities,
Power.
like I was hoping so much to hear, just because I'm playing a lot of Marvel Rivals. Come on, Johnny, yell Nova for me, baby, please.
Oh, yeah,
And he didn't do it. But when he was like bringing, like they're showing the montage, and he was like bringing all the fire in him. I'm like, that's Nova, I think, stuff like that.
But
So
you said like maybe this will be the sign for him to like stretch his powers literally and figuratively.
yeah,
Like watching like the look he gives Sue when he watched Sue push back Galactus told
yeah,
me everything right there. It was like, what? You could do that? And then I think it was
right.
like his gears were turning like, can I do more? Can I go more?
Right. I think it's gonna knock that brain a little bit to where it's like, I need to invest my intelligence in our abilities. Because I think maybe that's not what this Reed has been doing. It's definitely something the comic book Reed would do. Like he knows what his abilities are and whatever it is. But I think now he's gonna be like, I need to invest more, not so much because I think one of the early Reed moves is to try to find the cure. He's beyond that now. I think that's pretty fast. So I think the next one we're gonna see more advanced across the board for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I love it. I wanted to see, when he was getting stretched, I thought he was maybe going to like rubber band him into space and then he would be a parachute, just like, or turn into a ball or so. I don't know. I love that.
The ball
stuff.
is so classic. He does that all the
It's
time.
so
Yeah, the parachute
classic.
too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know that stuff.
exactly. Or like Slingshot Ben. I thought there was a moment where I was like, are they going to do the comic thing where, they're going to have enough time and then they're going to slingshot Ben. Ben's going to hit Galactus and then push him into the teleportation zone,
Yeah.
which is what they not the teleportation zone, but like they've done that move in the comics. And I was like, oh, are they going to do it? And then they didn't do
Yeah.
it. And I was like, oh, okay, they're using Sue. That's cool. I just thought there was more they could have done in the power set. But that's again, just me being like a super fan.
And this movie definitely put, I think, Sue as the leader, as the main. I would say if there is a main character, it's Sue of these four. Like it
Right.
starts off with her doing the pregnancy test. It ends with her, being brought back by Franklin. Yeah, I think she's the main character in a way.
So 100%. So that makes me wonder, like, does that bring us back to one of the original questions we talked about? Can we see this Reed Richards being the leader? It's like, but Sue's the leader here. So why wouldn't
Yeah.
Sue be the leader of the Avengers? But now but the quote says Mr. Fantastic is. So it's like,
Yeah.
all right. Which I think this is a perfect place to kind of get into the end credit scenes. And then we can talk about where do we see this going with Avengers
Yeah.
Doomsday?
I like that. So post credit scene. The second post credit scene, by the way, guys, if you want to like kind of just get out early, you're welcome to. It's not the big deal.
It's so
But
cute.
then
It's adorable.
it's cute, but I mean, watch it online. The middle one though, which was shot by the Russo brothers, by the way, we see that Sue leaves for a second, comes back, and sees that Franklin is playing with Doctor Doom, and Doom has taken off his helmet or his mask. We didn't get to see RDJ's face. I was kind of hoping he would, but we didn't see it. What do you think?
I loved it. That
Yeah.
that like in some ways that got the biggest cheer from me.
Yeah,
'Cause
it
it was
actually
like,
got the biggest cheer in my
yes.
audience, by the way, in my theater. That was big. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you don't necessarily want, at least me, I don't want the biggest cheer to come from the end credit scene. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah,
like it was
yeah.
amazing, but like I wanted something in the movie to make me feel like that too. Like the closest feeling I got where I was like, this is epic was the space travel when they were trying to run away for Shaw Ball and they
Mhm.
barely get away. That Sue's speech, which is such a completely different thing. And
Yeah.
then and then the my theater was Doom.
That was such a big mic drop moment, and I really liked that they already established him with the Latveria, like he wasn't there at the Future Foundation,
That was
and
cool.
so he has
Yeah.
kind of a reason to be there. Like he's a missing delegate who's there to talk to the head of the Future Foundation. So there's kind of almost like a reason to be there. And I always love, my favorite thing is first off, whenever he does magic as well, but kind of his role as a leader of his nation. And so I think that's going to be kind of how he's introduced here.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. I love that. Yeah, that'd be sick. I don't need to see RDJ's face. We know it's RDJ. Like
Mhm.
I'm cool with not. I'm glad they just acknowledged Doom in this movie. It would have felt so
Mhm.
weird if they
What if
didn't.
it's not already? No, that's okay. Never mind. I'm thinking now,
Could
like,
be.
why did they not show his face? Specifically, the Russo brothers, who have him on set right now. Like, it would be
They didn't show
so.
Blade's face in the Eternals, and we know it's Mahershala Ali. We knew that they were making a movie, but they didn't show his face.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
it's
there's
like
there's the leak
yeah.
too. We're gonna talk leaks, guys. So just a heads up on that. Spoilers and spoilers. So it's confirmed
rumors,
that
rumors, rumors.
yeah. Well, this one's confirmed that Nightcrawler is fighting Reed in Endgame, like at the beginning.
Oh, right. Alan Cumming
Right.
said that on an interview. Yeah.
Yes, and then they joke about it too. Like, yeah, he was interviewing the Fantastic Four this week because he's filling in for Kimmel, and he's
Oh.
yeah, and he's like, "How do you guys not, or well, how do you guys feel about trying to hide stuff with the Marvel stuff?" It's like, "Well, what do you think about it?" Like they turned it on him. It's like you're the one that ruined everything and stuff like that. So him and Pedro would kind of go back and forth about it.
Oh, it's funny.
But so it is confirmed that they are fighting. I
Okay,
think it's
okay.
going to be so weird to see these characters with the rest of the MCU.
Yes, which leads me to what you kind of said about the last end credit scene, which they kind of took a playbook out of DC, although they filmed it probably around the same time.
Yeah.
It was just a fun Easter egg. Like it wasn't like
Right,
anything
right.
that was leading to the future. But this is going to make people go crazy for the next year. The Thunderbolts end credit scene showed a Fantastic Four ship with 4 spires flying
Yeah.
into the 616. These Fantastic Four do not leave 828.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, they really just stayed in this universe. I was really shocked by that.
Mhm,
I was
mhm.
really shocked that they like, that they try to stop Galactus. They can't necessarily do it. And the only thing that they realize is like, wait, we can go to a different universe. They leave, Galactus follows them to 616 or something, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just really surprised they didn't leave the 828 universe.
Yeah, matter of fact, it ended it like very much just like we're gonna do another Fantastic Four before we're another. That's what it felt like.
Right.
The My Three Dads moment where they're trying to figure out the seatbelt thing, which I thought was adorable, but does
Yeah.
not tell you that Avengers is around the corner. So
Right.
yeah,
That
you're
got the
almost
biggest
like
laugh too.
yeah,
That got
that
the
was
biggest
great.
laugh out of me.
But it was kind of like we need another Fantastic Four movie before Avengers comes out, right? That's
It
where I'm
feels
at.
like it. That's the thing. It totally feels like that. And I guess you could make the argument, we'll look at Captain Marvel. She only had one movie, but it was like, I mean, I know that movie has its fans, but like, look at who showed up for Captain Marvel 2. Like, nobody did.
Exactly.
Because it wasn't sandwiched in
Yeah.
between 2 Avengers movies. And no offense, like it has its, perks or whatever, but like, so it does feel like this isn't enough from them to be in a giant Avengers movie. Although I'll eat those words when we get like, the
What if?
Infinity War ish.
Yeah, but what if Avengers starts with Fantastic Four and it's from their point of view?
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It could do that. Could do
Okay.
that with Doom.
I can
With
see
Doom
that.
being there, and that's why I was like, that's kind of where my mind went. Where it's like they're not showing us that them traveling to a different universe, but showing Doom and knowing what we're getting from Doom in Secret Wars. Obviously, he's going to have the keys to the multiverse, so maybe he
Right.
does pull them into the next one. They build a new ship. This time, it has 4 spires and 4 rockets on it. That could make sense, but I was like, dang, it was like it just feels like it's not enough.
Yeah,
this
and there was no Loki in this
yeah.
too. I was kind of hoping for a little bit of Loki because Tom Hiddleston's guy was there. But
Right.
yeah, I think there's something there. I want to throw one more thing out at you. Somebody brought this up, and I was like, man, son of a bitch, that's a good idea. We have not seen this look of this Fantastic Four movie anywhere in the MCU, save for one, the TVA.
Yeah.
So, and we know TVA supposedly is founded by Kang, which is a descendant of Reed. And so, do you think there's any chance that maybe the TVA will be involved with them getting over to here?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I mean, people have been saying this forever. The Reed Richards we got with John Krasinski, that time teleporter thing looks just like the TVA's. We see that the
Yeah.
TVA can just jump into any universe they want, which we got in Deadpool and Wolverine. Like that could definitely happen.
But that teleporter is not the teleporter that this Reed made. His teleporter looked
No.
very different. So it's kind of
Yeah.
weird because it's like you would assume, just like with Rick and Morty, the same thing. Like all of them happen to make the exact same teleporting machine. So it's
Right.
like you would think that all this Reed would figure out, like, oh, it's this light screen that I go through. Maybe he'll
But
figure that in the next movie.
but the person who makes the doorway one, the flat one, is actually Doom. Like Doom makes so what I think is he'll probably
Oh,
take Reed's whatever he did
yeah.
building these teleporters, he's gonna make it for himself, but in the flat door, thus then stemming creating the
Yeah.
TVA and yeah, all that.
We need it. I wish I had this movie on hand so I could look at the stills again.
Yeah.
Dude, how much do you want to bet they built one of those damn pylons in Latveria? And so it's just like reverse engineering.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I mean, of course, why would he? He'd be like, oh, Reed thinks he's so smart, he can build this. I could build this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And yeah, and he's
That's
like,
good.
I would do it better. Do I need three of them? Why can't I just do one? Why wouldn't I just have one door? You know what I mean?
How cool would it be if, like, if you look at the map and you're like, oh, all the red dots, but there's still like one white dot that's over there where Latveria is. Like somehow Doom protected his.
Yeah.
That'd be so sick.
I guarantee someone's gonna get that footage because they showed the globe and where they were putting all of them and how they were like
Yeah.
spider webbing. Someone's got to be like, this is where Latveria is on a map,
Right.
You know, and be like, look, they got one there. You know, like it's happening.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
This movie was a lot of fun, and it did that sci-fi thing where I just have questions and I'm debating it, and I think everybody did a very good job creating characters that will fit in the MCU. The aesthetics are going to be a tough mix. I think that's going to be kind of a fun little like Thor one, but this was a fun ass movie, and we are so lucky to have this in Superman this month.
I know. Yeah, you're so right. I can't wait to go watch it again. I really
Yeah,
did have a blast at this movie. It was, yeah, just the spectacle. Like you were saying, it's a feast. There's so many, like you're not going to be able to catch everything watching this once.
Yeah.
I mean, I already felt that way about Superman, and I was so happy I went back a second time. I know I'm going to be happy to watch this in IMAX. And I just want these characters back already. It's like
One more
okay, just
addition
show
for
me
the
more.
IMAX. You know, IMAX also has the better sound, and when Galactus does anything, oh, and that IMAX speakers, there was one point. I think it's when he's stepping. You felt it in your chest, and you're like, oh, that's a good sound design right there. Hell yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I like it. Like Galactus was cool too. I don't know if we talked a lot about that, but the detail and everything was amazing. I wanna feel like his intro, like you were saying earlier, was great, but like I want to feel the sound too and the
Yeah.
stops and the.
We didn't get
Yeah,
enough of him though, so I think like the key is he'll be back, and then we'll get a lot more of him. But we didn't get enough of what's his name, Ralph. I think his name, Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah, Ralph
Yeah, there we go.
Ineson.
We didn't get
He's
enough
so
of
good.
his dialogue or anything, so
Yeah.
more to come for sure. You know,
Definitely. But they did it, man. They were like, hey, he's coming for Franklin. He knows the power that Franklin has. Franklin is one of the strongest characters in the entire Marvel universe, can create his own universe later on in the comics, is very integral to the part after Secret Wars. So yeah.
Yes, he is. And I thought that would be the part that he wanted him for, not just to like take the curse off of him, like to be the hunger. But I thought it was like, oh, you want him to create the old universe that you're from. Like, I thought that was the point. Because I was like, oh, he has the ability to bring back the universe that was wiped away. But I mean, obviously not at this age. You know, I thought that'd be what he'd do.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I wonder what was the. Still was kind of wondering what the plan was. Was he just hoping that Franklin would just shoot his powers and feed him, or like I don't know. I guess I'm still curious how that whole thing would have worked out. But I knew he wanted the baby, and it was scary.
That's exactly what I'm saying with like the sci-fi 60s stuff, where it's just like, don't worry, big giant guy, he eats things. And it's just like, okay, we'll fight him, And so it was kind of a nice little reprieve from overthinking things with the other movies.
That's true. You don't need to do that with this one. Just go enjoy.
Just feel it. Yeah, just feel it. Let us know what you guys thought about this movie. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5.
Oh yeah, I'm right there. Solid 4 out of 5. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely watching it again. I was the only one out of my friends because everybody, it's all back to school stuff. So everybody's going to like last minute vacations before back to school kicks in. So me, the single guy's like, I'm gonna go watch Fantastic Four the second I can. And so as they're coming back from vacation, I'll be watching it again with them, I'm sure, and I'll get multiple viewings of this movie. Which hell yeah.
I know that this is like the commitment to the game is strong. I was like, that's it. I don't care. I'm leaving Comic-Con. This is like all I wanted for my birthday, and I did it, and I'm so happy. It's Man, if you have not read a Fantastic Four comic, like they're all just so dang good and they're all so
Yeah.
different. Yeah, dude. One of my favorite ones, if you can, read Mark Waid. I'm pretty sure where Reed gets infected by this virus and it's like slowly deteriorating him and he doesn't know why. And they go on a year-long trip as a family.
Yeah.
To all these different timelines and universes and stuff. And the overall arch, the way it ends isn't great, but like the individual stories through the comics is so wonderful. And it's like you get a taste of this family. Like the family is great.
And that's one of them. They do it multiple times where they like put a Fantastic Four behind, right? Where they're like, hey, Wolverine, Spider-Man, She-Hulk, something like that. Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yep. It was She-Hulk,
Yeah.
Ant-Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's the newer. Yeah, it's one of the newer ones then. After I'm done with the Hickman one, I want to read the Ryan North ones because
Dude,
I heard only good things about those two.
Ryan North is incredible. Like I was like, this is so good. I'm going to read through everything to catch. Like that's how I do. You know, I do it that way. It's super dumb. Don't
Yeah,
do it that way,
yeah.
people. But like Ryan North, everything I've read, like every issue is phenomenal. And Ryan North actually has, I think, his physics degree. So he brings in
I
actual
love that.
science. He knows, like he's written books about science along with fiction. So you're getting like true science fiction. It's so well done. Ryan North is killing it.
I was debating about going straight to that, but Marvel themselves said, or no, Shackman, whatever, the director said, read the Hickman run for this movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll do that then because you got to listen to the director. But Ryan North next.
Totally. He took inspiration from a lot of them. I mean, the costumes are straight out of Dan Slott's run. Like it really just feels, I was like, wow, okay, I know these costumes. Like it was it was cool. He did a good job.
Dope. That is dope. Yeah. And then we're gonna have to hear more from you at some point on how San Diego Comic Con's going on. You got a couple more days of that, and then a lot. You've been busy, man. You're a busy man this week.
I am tired.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Please let us know what you guys thought about Fantastic Four, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.